Hi, my name is Dave Johansson, and this is Blossom Hill Crafts Pottery Studio in Los Gatos, California. This is our monthly challenge. For October, the challenge is going to be to pull a handle off of a mug. This is a mug that I've made, and I've got some clay here to make a handle. So let me show you how I do this. There are many ways to go about it, but this is my method. I've got a reasonably small piece of clay here. It's actually a little more than I need. I don't even think I've got a quarter pound here. But the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pinch out a coil. So I'm just kind of pinching the clay into the shape of a coil. And it's not just any coil that I want to make. I want my coil to be the shape of a carrot. So tapered, thin on one side, thick on the other. And you can see I've kind of started to get that carrot shape. At this point, the easiest thing to do is to turn it upside down and to let the weight be on the bottom. And that will kind of help you sort of get your carrot shape started here. So you can see what I've got there. Now that I'm at this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start rolling it out on my table. But before I do that, I'm going to push the two sides together and kind of twist a little bit. I don't want to overemphasize that, but you can kind of see I'm sort of pushing the two ends together and twisting. And that's going to make it a lot easier for me to keep it round when I'm rolling it out on my countertop. So here's my countertop here. And before I roll it out, I'm actually going to spray a little water on the countertop with a water bottle so that as I roll out on this surface, my clay doesn't get dry. I don't want it to, I maybe got a little bit too much water on there. But I'm just going to roll a nice little coil out here. Notice that I'm using my fingertips. I'm not using the palm of my hand. I'm not rolling it all the way over my hand. I'm just using my fingertips, and I'm kind of rolling out a coil, letting it get tapered like a carrot. And you can start to see that I'm beginning to get sort of a carrot-shaped coil there. This isn't the greatest coil I've ever made, but hey, that's all right. Now here at the bottom, it's getting a little more uniform than I want, and I've got this fancy little metal rib here, and I'm just going to cut some off the end, use it like a guillotine. And there we go. I'm just going to finish kind of rolling that out. And so now I basically have a carrot-shaped coil here. So once I've got the carrot-shaped coil, I'm going to put it in my hands and I'm going to start to pinch it flat. Now, I don't want to overemphasize that. I don't want to pinch too hard. I don't want to create a thin spot, but I'm going to just keep pinching it flat. Now, I'm going to leave a little bit at the top that I don't pinch flat, just a little bit at the top. But I'm going to just start pinching that flat just like that, leaving a little thickness. So you can see it kind of looks just like that. So I'm now going to go back to my board here and my little guillotine, and I'm going to cut just a little bit off the top. And now I'm going to hold the top in my hand just like that, and I'm going to take my finger and I'm going to do that with it. You see how I'm just kind of thickening up and widening that top. And you get a good look at what I did there, okay? I'm trying not to create a thin spot right in here, okay? But I'm trying to thicken up that top. And there we go. So now I've got a nice amount of clay here at the top and a nice surface to start to connect to my mug. So let's talk about the mug for a minute. A handle is like an arm. It comes off the shoulder. So I want the handle to come off the shoulder of the pot, not the head. Think of the lip as like the head. On my pot, I've created a shoulder when I threw it. There's a natural shoulder on the pot. Maybe your pot doesn't have a natural shoulder and you just have to sort of guess where you want the shoulder to be. It should be down from the rim. One of the biggest mistakes I see with handles is people taking that handle right off the rim. It doesn't look right. It's not what your eye is used to seeing, and it just, you look at it and you go, there's something off. The other thing is a handle is like a lever, and so if the handle, where your hand goes, is way up at the top up here, and there's a lot of liquid in the bottom, the cup becomes unwieldy because the lever doesn't work very well. But move the lever down here, and it's a much more effective handle. It's much more functional. So here's the shoulder of my pot, and I'm going to take a scoring tool right at my shoulder, right where I want my handle to be, and I am just going to score the clay. Now, I don't want my scoring to be deep, but I do want it to be messy. Think Velcro. Right? So I've got a nice big scoring spot there. And I've got some water over here, and I'm just going to take a little bit of water, put it on my fingertip, and just go just like that. And what I've done now is I've just created slip on the top of my pot. Now this clay happens to be a little bit drier than average, so I'm going to go back and just lightly score that. And I'm going to one more time put a drop on there, because this clay really is pretty dry. But I want to emphasize that you don't want to get too much water on your pot. If you do, all you're doing is making work for yourself, mess to clean up, sloppiness. So I'm going to set my mug down here, and right here is where my handle is going to go on, and I'm just going to start pushing it on. The important thing is that I'm not just pushing from right here, because if I do that, I'll create a thin spot. But I'm pushing from back. And I'm trying to get it on there nice and snug without creating a thin spot. Okay? And let's see if you can see what I've done there. Just really pushed it on there really, really well, but not squeezed it on. Pushed it from way back onto the pot. Okay. So later I'll come by and make that connection look a little bit neater. But now what I'm going to do is literally pull this handle off the mug. So notice how I'm keeping this handle supported when it's horizontal like this. I'm going to keep it supported. I'm going to grab my water. And now I'm going to turn my mug upside down. And I want the handle to sort of be pointing down and towards the rim of the cup a little bit. Just like that. And I'm right over my water source here. I'm going to get my hand wet, and I'm going to bring my hand onto the handle and start pulling down. Now I want just enough water that my hand pulls smoothly, but not so much water that I'm making mud. Okay? I want you to notice that with every pull, I pull off of the end. I don't stop right in here, because if I do, I'll create a thin spot in the clay right here and a weakness, and I don't want to do that. So I'm going to just keep pulling that handle right off the end, just like that. Now I'm not trying to make this handle round, so I'm not going this way and then this way and then this way. I'm just going down the handle one side. If I feel like it's getting uneven, I may turn the cup all the way around and come on it this way. I usually don't need to do that. But I'm just using enough water to kind of pull that down in until I sort of feel like I'm getting a nice shape. Now ideally what's going to happen here is I'm going to get a taper. It's going to taper this way, and it's going to taper this way. The handle is tapering in every direction, and that's what makes for a nice, beautiful, beautiful handle. I'm going to make sure I'm staying in your view of your screen here. If I moved out, I apologize for that. And we're going to just keep working on that until I feel good about it. I could make this handle thinner, but I'm going to feel good about it for the sake of this video. Now I'm going to take my mug, supporting my handle. I'm going to turn the mug and set it back down, just like that. I'm going to take my thumb, run my thumb up into the cup, so my thumb on the top of the handle. I'm going to run it up into the cup and then down the handle, just like that. Putting kind of a nice little light, not an over-exaggerated, but a nice light groove in the handle. Now I'm going to take the cup, I'm going to flip it up just like that, and I'm going to make sure my handle is straight. I'm going to put my hand all the way down in on the bottom. Now the bottom of the handle I don't really need to score. I'm going to, well, I don't, I'm actually going to make that handle just a little bit smaller. I don't like super big hole in my handle there. So I'm supporting it from the inside. I'm going to push down with my finger, just like that, and then pull away. And you could see how that ends up looking right there. Okay, so there is my handle that goes on my mug. Now, I can come up in here and I can kind of fix that up a little bit. And I can kind of fix that up a little bit. What I don't want to do is start blending this into the cup. And the reason I don't want to do that is I create thick and thin clay and it's going to crack. Not a structural crack, but just little surface cracks. And those little surface cracks will show under your glaze and it doesn't look very nice. So let the handle be an appendage. Let it be a separate thing. Let it be a separate shape. And I think you're going to find that if you do that, you're going to come out with the best look. Just like that. Nice and connected all the way around the mug. So there you go. That's how you pull a handle off a mug. I'm Dave Johansen from Blossom Hill Crafts in San Jose, California. Sure hope you take the challenge. Bye now.